Hey, my name is Tyler Murphy. I got two questions for you. First one, would you like to prolong the life of your engine? Second one, do you like saving money? Of course you do. If you answered yes to both of these questions, then just watch and learn. Today I'm going to teach you how to safely and properly change the oil in your vehicle. Alright, today we're changing the oil in a 2012 Ford Explorer. It has a 3.5 V6 engine. The process of changing the oil is essentially the same for most vehicles, but you need to know the year, make, model, and engine size to be able to purchase your oil and filter from your local parts store. Did you know that changing your own oil could potentially save you between $25 and $75 per oil change, depending on the type of vehicle and oil that you use? But you can also potentially damage your engine or even potentially be hurt or killed if you don't follow these steps and do this properly and safely. So let's get things started by going over some important details and going over all the items that you're going to need to get this job done. All right, the first thing you're going to need is PPE, personal protective equipment. I just like to use a good pair of gloves and safety glasses. The next thing that you're going to need is your oil that's made for your vehicle, the proper oil filter for your vehicle. You're going to need a socket wrench with the proper size socket for your oil drain plug. You may need an extension to reach the plug, and then you got a oil filter wrench right here. You're going to have jack stands to hold the vehicle up. You're going to have a floor jack to jack the vehicle up. You're going to have your used oil container to put all the old oil in, and then typically you would have a wheel chock, but we've got a brick doing the job. You'll also need a funnel for putting the oil back in, and then some napkins. I also like to place something down on the ground, unless you got a shop with a creeper you can use to roll around. That way it just keep you from getting dirty. All right, before you begin this process, you need to make sure that your vehicle is on level ground. You need to have your parking brake on. You'll need to make sure that the key is out of the ignition and make sure that the engine is cooled down and is not hot. All right, you're going to want to push your parking brake all the way in. You want to take the key out of the ignition, and then you're going to want to find your hood release and pull it. Next thing you're going to do is go around to the front side of your vehicle. You're going to need to open your hood latch. Hold on one second. Raise the hood, and then this little bar right here is your hood stand. It folds up and goes right inside of that hole. Next thing that you're going to do is look at your engine. You're going to want to find your oil field cap and your oil dipstick. The dipstick is what you use to measure how much oil is in the vehicle. And this right here, you're going to want to remove. This is where you're going to put the new oil inside of it. You're going to want to remove this cap now and just set it to the side somewhere. Removing it allows the air to flow, and it helps the oil drain out of the bottom a little bit better. All right, the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to have to use your floor jack, slide it underneath the vehicle, and you're going to need to find a good position to jack the vehicle up. Most vehicles have that little notch cut out on the side rails. That right there is made for a jack to go. If you can't find that, you're going to want to find a good spot on the frame or suspension that you can lift it up without damaging it. You're going to want to turn your jack handle all the way to the right and pump it up to lift the vehicle to the desired height that you want. All right, now that I have the vehicle jacked up, it's time to place the jack stand underneath the vehicle. You're going to want to place the jack stand underneath the secure spot as well. I'm going to put it right here underneath this spot right here on the frame, and you slide all the way up and secure it in place. As you can see, I've already got one on the other side. I went ahead and jacked that side up just to save time. Once both of your jack stands are in place, you can turn your jack handle to the left to release the pressure down a little bit so it sets the vehicle on the jack stands. Next thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to look underneath your vehicle. You're going to want to find your oil filter. This one is located right here. That's your filter. This right here is your oil pan, and then right on the back side of it, you've got a 15 millimeter socket, a little bolt. That's your oil drain plug that's right there. That's what you have to take out to drain the oil. You're going to want to grab your your wrench and socket, and then your old oil container. You're gonna want to place this container underneath that oil drain plug that I just showed you. So that way, whenever you take that plug out, the oil's gonna come out. It needs to flow inside of that container right there. As you can see, I've got a container underneath the drain plug, and now I'm gonna remove the drain plug. All right, you're gonna crawl underneath the vehicle. Be careful not to hit your head. Take your socket wrench and your socket, place it on your drain plug right here, and then you're gonna want to turn it to the left, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Right now we're loosening, so we're gonna go to the left, remove the drain plug all the way. Be careful once you get ready to pull it, it loosens to the last little bit, the oil's gonna start coming out. So you want to make sure your container's underneath it so that way it catches all the oil properly. It just so happens my socket don't fit, so I gotta get a different one. All right, let's try these sides. All right, I got the right socket. The problem was I was using a 12-point socket instead of a 6-point, where it has six sides on the inside of it. The 6 side doesn't slide. The 12 one slides a little bit easier. All right, I have the plug about to come out. Once you get it removed, just sit it to the side, and there it is. And you can see the oil flowing out into the container. We're gonna let it drain. It takes probably about 10-15 minutes, but we also have to take the oil filter off. So once this drains down a little bit, where we can slide this container over to be underneath this oil filter, we'll slide it over, then we'll take the oil filter off. All you do with the oil filter, you turn it to the left. If you can't take it off by hand, then you will get the wrench with your oil filter wrench attachment and use it. All right, while your oil is draining, you can spend your time wisely and go ahead and you're going to want to open up one of your oil containers or quarts, and what you're going to do is you're going to pour some oil inside of this filter, fill it up about halfway, and then you're going to take your finger and dip it inside the oil, and you're going to rub a little bit of oil on this black gasket right here, around this gasket. That prevents that gasket from sticking to the engine next time you have the oil changed. And whenever you take the oil filter off, you always check the oil filter for this gasket and make sure that gasket is still on the oil filter. If it's not up there, then you need to check the engine where the oil filter attaches and see if it's right there, because you'll need to get it off. If you don't, it will leak. All right, I poured my oil in there, rubbed it around on the seal. At this point, my oil is pretty much done draining. It's got a little steady drip coming out of it. So what I'm gonna do is slide this over some to where it'll be underneath that oil filter. And now I'm gonna remove the oil filter. I'm gonna do this, just turn it to the left. All right, I could not remove the filter by hand, so I had to stick the oil filter wrench adapter on it. And now what I'll do is I'll use my socket wrench with the extension, stick it in there, and just turn it to the left to remove it that way. All right, I can't get the oil filter off neither, so I'm getting a different oil filter wrench and the next step if that don't work. All right, the oil filter is typically the messy part, because once you start loosening it up, the oil starts running down around the outside of it. So you may want to change your gloves after that. Just be careful, because whenever you loosen it up, sometimes it'll fall, so make sure you got control of it so it don't splash everywhere and get all over you. You just want to turn it upside down inside your oil drain container to let it flow in there. And now that the oil, you've got all the oil drained, you can slide this container right here out of the way. All right, you're gonna want to wipe your drain plug off, and then you're gonna want to stick it back in there, put it back in the hole, turn it, tighten it up, turn it all the way to the right until it's pretty good and snug. Next, you're gonna put your new oil filter on. Just make sure you hold it up right so you don't dump all the good oil out of there. Just stick it on where it goes and then turn it to the right. You can tighten this up hand tight, just make sure it's good and snug. All right, now I've got oil filter and a drain plug back in. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna go around to where your jack was at. You're gonna jack the car back up to where it comes off of the jack stands. Then you're gonna release your jack stand. In my case, I got to do it on both sides. Just jack it up, take the jack stand out from underneath it, let the car back down slowly. Do the same thing with the other side. All right, now I've got both my jack stands out. Got the floor jack out, no tools or anything's underneath the car. Vehicle's back down level like it's supposed to be. Now it's time to put the new oil back in. To do that, you're gonna want your funnel. Up in your oil. You're gonna find this truck takes 6 quarts, pour probably about 5.5 in there, and then check it and see where we're at. I actually spilled a little bit, but you're gonna just pour your oil into the funnel until you get to the certain amount of quarts that you need. All right, once you get all your oil pulled in, whenever you pull your funnel out, you want to grab a napkin. When you pull the funnel out, stick the napkin right underneath the bottom of it to keep it from spilling everywhere. You're gonna put your oil cap back on the top. Make sure it's good and tight all the way down like it's supposed to be. Look underneath your vehicle. Make sure that you can't see anything leaking around your oil filter and around your drain plug over there. And then you're gonna go, it's gonna be time to crank the vehicle up. You're gonna wanna put the key back in the ignition, crank the car up, let it sit for about 5 minutes so that way it can cycle all your oil through your filter and everything. And then you'll cut the engine off, and then it'll be time to check the oil. All right, while your engine is running, you want to look back up underneath the car again and check for any type of leaks around your filter and your drain plug. You're going to want to do this a few times throughout the process just to make sure that it's good and nothing's leaking. All right, it's getting dark on me, so I had to grab a different light. All right, so let's check again. All right, everything so far looks good. That's the oil from when I spilled it earlier. All right, once your vehicle's done running for a little while, you're gonna come cut it back off. Take your key out of the ignition. All those ones are gonna be. All right, now to check your oil, you're gonna have to pull your dipstick out, pull it all the way out. You're gonna wipe it all the way off. Take notice of where your fill lines are at. That dot is low. That dot right there is full. So wipe it off. You're gonna stick it back down inside the hole. Push it all the way down till it locks into place. Wait like 3 or 5 seconds or so. Pull it back out again. This time don't wipe it off yet. Take a look at it. You're gonna want to read it. This one right here, you can see where the oil stops. This is a little low. It's about a quart low, which I already expected. So wipe it back off again. And now what I'll do is take my oil fill cap back off and add another quart to it, and then I'll check the oil again to make sure it's at the full level. It's better, if you're not sure how much oil it takes, it's better to put too little in there and then add oil to it while you're checking it, instead of putting a bunch of oil in it and then having too much in there and then having to drain it back out again. So at this point, I'm gonna take this off, put a quart of oil in it, and then I'll check it again. All right, I've got my oil levels and everything right, so I'm gonna put my hood back down, lock that back in place, drop your hood back down, make sure it latches, and then some vehicles have a oil life light. You may have a oil a percentage. Some of them may have a sticker up in the top. If you got a sticker, you want to replace your sticker, put a mileage and a date on it. This one right here has the oil life reset, so I'm gonna show you how to reset that real quick.
Baby, that video is going to be like this the entire time.
Now everything's done. You're going to want to clean up all your trash, clean all your tools up, and you're gonna want to dispose of the oil properly. All right, now you guys know how to change your oil properly. For the most part, changing the oil in the vehicles, it's about the same process for most vehicles. You just got to make sure you get the right oil, and then if you're not comfortable changing the oil, just contact your local dealership.